Good evening, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, Dhanashree.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to today's webinar on questionnaire design, building effective research tools for your dissertation. This session has been organized by IQAC of HR College of Commerce and Economics in collaboration with the PG Department and Research Cell of Lala Lajpat Rai College. We would like to extend a warm welcome to Dr. Rahul Shetty, coordinator of MCOM at Lala Lajpat Rai College. He is an assistant professor with over 14 years of teaching experience and has contributed extensively to academia with numerous research publications. We are grateful for his support and presence today. It's now my honor to introduce our speaker, Ms. Dharti Narwani. She is an ex-senior faculty at NIIT and has served as the product development head at DeVox Institute, bringing with her over a decade of experience in computer programming and education. She is an international educator with 40 plus skill badges and certifications from reputed organizations like Microsoft, Google, Oracle, IBM, and Tally. At HR College, she is the teacher in charge of the MCOM committee and a faculty member in the Department of Commerce. She is also a research scholar with multiple publications, patents, and textbooks to her credit, with expertise spanning marketing, HRM, and finance. We're truly privileged to have her with us today. With further ado, I would like to invite ma'am to take the session forward. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. Just before we start, I just got to know that Lala's principal has also joined in. So a very, very hearty welcome, ma'am. Uh, are you there?
Yes, Dharti, I am
Yes.
here. A very warm
Yes,
welcome
ma'am.
to you as well.
Glad to see you join in, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here. So we'll quickly start in with the session as well. So today's session is related to questionnaire design, and one of the main reasons why this session is brought in here is because we have a lot of students of ours in masters, both the colleges as well as in bachelors, who do create research projects but do not have a correct idea as to how the questionnaires are supposed to be designed, what all are the things one must keep in mind while going through or while preparing a questionnaire, because somewhere questionnaire serves as a foundation for the research. If you don't ask the right questions, you will not get the kind of output that you want. So questionnaire design is basically a small, or this session per se is a small effort towards trying to get the right questions so that good research can come from our students. So that's basically the agenda for today's session. And to give it a good head start, I think when we think about research, we often imagine, collecting data using some tools, probably, Excel or SPSS, or, running some sort of statistical tests. But in reality, all of that comes much later. So the real starting point of any research is much simpler. It is about how well we design our questions. Okay, so that's exactly what a questionnaire design is all about. A questionnaire is not just a Google form or just a list of questions. It is a structured research instrument that will help us to, convert our ideas into measurable data. So, in simpler terms, your research topic, which you first get it approved from your guide, and most students do that, that is just an idea. Then you start working on your concepts, and your questionnaire is the one that turns that into data that one can further then analyze. So that is exactly how it is. If research is a building now, then your questionnaire is the foundation to that building. So what happens is, if your foundation is only weak, so even if you have done like most advanced analysis, it cannot fix the problem. So that's where many students actually struggle. It's not because you don't understand how research is supposed to be done, but because the data that you collect itself is not usable in the correct sense. So, like for example, I'll give you a very simple thing, okay? A basic question like, digital payments are good. This will not help in research. But when I frame it properly, like I find digital payments convenient to use, say on a scale of 1 to 5, so what happens is, suddenly the response that the viewer has given us has now become measurable, Okay, it has become comparable, and you can now test it statistically also. So the focus of the session is not just how to create questions or how to work with Google Forms, because more or less people may know how to do it, but I will still give you a hint of a little bit of how I know, or any add-ons that you can use in existing Google Forms today with AI coming in the picture. uh, Asking the right questions, majorly research ready questions. Okay, so that's what we are looking at. Questions that can align with your objectives, questions that can help to test your hypothesis. While this is not hypothesis testing session, we will be having that session also on Monday, but at least a little idea on how to generate meaningful insights from useful questions. Okay, so that's basically the gist of what we are going to do in today's session. Okay, we will quickly get started. So, the very first part of our section is why questionnaire designing matters, or why do you need questionnaire design for on the first place. Most of us know how to ask questions. We've been asking questions from when we are like, from when we can speak, literally. But are we asking the correct type of questions? So, when you understand what a questionnaire is, the next step is understanding, you can say, how whatever theoretical research you have, how can that actually be linked. Okay, so the first role of questionnaire design is to align the data collection directly with the research objectives and the hypothesis. So on my slides, what I have done is I have put questions which my own students have given me, topics, and on that topic what would be the main objective, what would be the possible questions that you can ask to fulfill that objective, and against that how the hypothesis statement is actually supposed to be written. Okay, if you understand this bit, your research is moving in the right direction. So I have given a few examples on my slides to, help you align that in a correct manner. Because, in research, we are not just collecting data randomly. We are actually collecting data with a purpose. So every question that you include should somewhere directly contribute to fulfilling a research objective or towards testing a hypothesis. So if that alignment is missing, then you will end up with a lot of data but no conclusions. Matlab, it is not going in the right direction, no meaningful conclusions. The second thing is it significantly increases the validity and the reliability of the findings. Now, these are terms which usually are used before you even start with the testing of hypothesis. Validity and reliability, and a lot of times there are students who come and ask, ma'am, what do these terms actually mean? When you say validity, you are asking a question to yourself: are you measuring what you actually intend to measure? That is called validity. Okay. And when you are saying reliability, you are asking yourself, ki, are your results consistent across all the respondents? So, for example, if different respondents are interpreting the same question in different ways, then your data is not reliable. That is what I mean to say. So, clarity, if your questions have clarity, if your viewers are actually understanding what is asked out of them, that is what reliability and validity is looking out for. Give clarity to your questions. Keep your questions as simple as possible. Keep them consistent in wordings, not just presentation focus, but these are some basic requirements of research. Thirdly, a questionnaire design helps in translating abstract theoretical concepts into measurable variables. I'll give you a very simple example. I'm trying to study customer trust towards, suppose, new age lab grown diamonds. Now, this trust factor, one cannot measure it. There is no measurability. We can't say we've got 2 kg stressed. Are you understanding? I can't put it in a number. It cannot be measured directly. So what I do is I break it into statements. So I will say I trust the suppose the effect of that, or I like the look of it, or something like that. I'll give you another example. Suppose instead of measuring trust directly, I will say I trust recommendation from influencer if it's a social media influencer. So that can be one question. Another question can be I feel confident in purchasing based on, suppose, online reviews. So each of these statements which I'm making becomes a measurable indicator. And this process, it's basically something called operationalization. It's one of the most critical skills in research. So that is important. Moving ahead, a good questionnaire will also help to improve the respondent's experience and survey completion. A lot of times this happens. The person starts the survey, ticks, but at one point he feels like, oh my god, too many questions. Now he'll just go 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. What does that mean? He's not even reading the question. Your overall experience towards the questionnaire has now fallen. So this is an important thing. It usually tends to get ignored, but it's very important, especially if your questionnaire is too long or if it is too confusing. Somebody feels कि आप बार बार एक ही चीज पूछ रहे हो. It's very repetitive. So that should not happen. Are you understanding? So that is why questionnaire design actually matters. Respondent may tend to lose interest if your questionnaire is not good, or may just leave it incomplete. Okay. On the other hand, if your questionnaire is well structured, it becomes easy to answer. It flows logically. Okay. And it keeps the respondent engaged towards till the end of the questionnaire. So that helps to get you better quality data. That is what we are looking at. Okay. So yeah, if you look at all of these aspects together, you can say that questionnaire design is not just a technical step. It's actually a strategic step which will ensure that, the data is relevant, that your measurements are accurate, that respondents are comfortable, and so your research becomes more ethically sound. That's the core intent towards making a good questionnaire. Okay. Now before I actually move forward, can I just get a quick thumbs up if you've been understanding what I'm saying so far? Just give me a quick thumbs up so I know I'm moving in the right direction, and then we'll continue from there. Quickly. You've been listening to me. If you are understanding what I'm saying, give me a thumbs up. Okay, so I can see close to 16, 17 respondents so far, and people will keep, lowering and giving their thumbs up back. So that's completely okay. And wherever you feel you are unable to, answer, or it's not clicking, tell me, I'll give you another example as well. Okay, fine, cool. So far good. We can move ahead. Uh, the next section, which will be, I think, more or less the last section before I actually go into practicals on how to make a good questionnaire, is the research logic flow. Putting this slide or mentioning this right now is important because a lot of us, what we feel is topic ho gaya, chalo questionnaire banate hain. Most of the students do that mistake. So here, this flow chart is actually trying to explain the research logic flow, how you are supposed to go about. Okay, how or where exactly the research process goes through. So a research always follows a logical sequence, and this sequence must be respected. Okay, it starts with a research objective. This is the foundation of everything. Okay, what you want to study, what you want to achieve. So, for example, your objective could be to study the impact of AI on a student performance. That can be my objective. So, at this stage, everything is still conceptual. I don't know anything else. But my research ka core objective kya hai, that needs to be framed in a sentence. You can have multiple objectives backing your research as well. Okay. So, everything of what all you want to do in your research will be objective. Once you got your objectives right, the next step is aligning your objective to hypothesis. So, what is hypothesis? Now I'm moving from description to prediction. Okay, hypothesis basically will define expected suppose relationship between variables. So I can say AI training has a significant positive impact on student performance. So what I have done, whatever my objective was, converted that into a meaningful hypothesis. So it gives direction to your research. It will tell you what you are trying to test. Now, based on that, I will identify the variables which are involved. So there are two types of variables, IVs, DVs, and controls. You can see here. IV is independent variable. So the cause, my training, AI training is cause. Okay, I'll repeat my statement. AI training has significant positive impact on student performance. My IV, independent variable, is the cause factor, that is AI training. The DV, which is the dependent variable, is the effect, cause and effect. Effect किस पे हुआ? Student performance पे. So these are my two variables. First variable, AI training. Second variable, student performance. And you may have some controls. This depends upon certain mediating or moderating variables. For example, age के ऊपर there may be a difference. What standard is the student studying in? उस पे there may be a difference. So subject to all those permutation combinations, this is the effect of AI training on the student performance. Now, I can say the AI training of student performance can be different for undergraduate students, can be different for postgraduate students, can be different for students in Mumbai versus students in Nagpur. So then those extra variables come into play and you get a niche section of what you want to do. So that is your variables. Again, you are making or giving better structure to your research logic. Then comes the stage which I am here for, which is questionnaire. Okay, you are now moving from theory to measurement. So you will convert your variables into questions, and whatever response you get, that becomes your data. Okay, so instead of directly measuring, suppose, student performance, I will design statements like student getting or students being able to complete their homework can be a measure of student performance. A student himself saying that, yes, my productivity has improved or my understanding towards concepts has improved after the training, that can be a question. I am able to practically apply my skills into performance, again, can be a question. So each of these statements becomes a measurable indicator. And once your questionnaire is ready, then you move to data collection, which means you will clean code, structure your responses, and finally, you will move towards the analysis section, which is applying the hypothesis ka tests, interpreting the results, and so on and so forth. So today's job of mine is to link 1, 2, 3, 4 to you. Monday, the session that will happen will link 5, 6, 7 to you, right? Okay, so that is basically the gist on how the analysis is supposed to happen or how it is going to go about. Okay, just a quick question. Dhanashree, you are recording the session, right?
Yes,
Are you?
session has been recorded.
Okay, thank you so much. So, moving ahead, research flow logic, I think, should be understood so far. Uh, Next part now comes from here on, comes everything practical. Okay, so whatever I had to explain theoretically, more or less, I have completed. Practically, when we start into making a questionnaire, there are various types of questions that one can ask to your sample. Okay, so you will be asking questions that can be demographic in nature, that can be binary, multiple choice, Likert, etc., etc. Like, I'll give you a very simple example. Today, you all are attending here, but at the same time, right before this, and even right now, IPL matches are going on. Right? If we have any cricket fans out here, by the way, I'm also one of them. We had, I think, if I'm not wrong, Mumbai Indians against Delhi in the afternoon. Okay, if I was to prepare a research on that, okay, what kind of questions would I add in that research? Okay, let's try to understand that. My title now is, a student is taking this title, take it like that. Title is impact of IPL match on viewer engagement and brand recall. Okay, this is my title. Okay, I will start with very basic demographic questions. This is the first type. which is basically used for profile respondents. For example, आपका age group क्या है? Now, a lot of people, छोटे बच्चे भी IPL देखते हैं, old age people may also watch IPL. So my age group can be a demographic factor, right? I will have below 18, 18 to 25, 26 to 35, 36 to 45, 45 plus. What am I doing? I'm creating a demographic. Gender can be a demographic, not necessary only male people are watching, right? So you can have male, female, prefer not to say, which is now, by the way, a legal point. You have to add others or a prefer not to say in your questionnaire always. Okay. So just remember that. I'm going to give you hints also, beech mein. The third important question for IPL viewers will be, are you a regular IPL viewer? Yes or no? When you see a yes or no, you are moving towards dichotomous. So a dichotomous question is a simple yes, no, or a true, false. This will help me to classify the group of people that I have into two segments: IPL viewers, non-IPL viewers. जो मेरे IPL viewers है उनको मैं further question करूंगी. So my second binary question can be, did you watch today's match MI versus DC? Yes, no. If no, I will skip and move to general IPL perception questions. If yes, I may probably filter down and ask you specifics related to that particular, part. So that can be one of the ways in which I can filter my question logic. I will ask you behavioral questions. Like, for example, multi-choice questions. How did you watch the match? आपने टीवी पे देखा, मोबाइल पे देखा, लैपटॉप पे देखा, आपने सिर्फ हाइलाइट्स देखे? दैट इज मल्टीपल चॉइस. ओके. What time did you start watching? I started watching from the beginning, from the middle of the match, in the last overs. Another multiple choice question. Okay. How long did you watch? Did you watch the full match? Did you watch less than half an hour? All of these are simple examples of multiple choice. Now I'll move to the next section. There is Likert. Likert means you give a rating of up to 5, up to 7 point scale. This is your core research data. So you will use a linear scale to ask questions like, the match was exciting. Rate on a scale of 1 to 5 how much you agree with this statement. Or, commentary enhanced my viewing experience. Rate on a scale of 1 to 5. Right? Advertisements, my brand recall I was asking. So advertisements during the match were engaging. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 would be strongly disagree, 5 would be strongly agree. Based on this, you can apply correlation or regression. So it can be a very simple analysis of that type also. If my topic is specifically related to brand recall, now I will ask you, which brands do you remember seeing during the match? Do you remember the ones which were on the jersey? Do you remember something like a CEAT tire strategic timeout? So it is a CEAT, or Yes Bank Maximum. So yes. Okay. Do you remember Tata because they say Tata IPL? How or where do you remember? Which brands do you remember? Brand recall के बारे में अगर पूछना है. Okay. Did any advertisement influence your interest in a product? Like, for example, I don't know if you're aware, while the match is going on, there is a car that is situated at one corner. Does that car, Tiara, if I'm not wrong, does looking at the car influence you to buy that car? So something like that you can ask in brand recall, right? Simple examples I'm giving. And this is just very randomly I'm giving because I want to cover all the types of questions. You can have ranking questions. You can have something very open-ended, like preference questions. Which team were you supporting and why? So I could be supporting MI. Why am I supporting that? Okay. Or who do you think will win the IPL season this time? Okay. What did you like about today's match? These are simple, open-ended questions, unstructured questions, which can help you to set the theme of what the viewers or what your respondents feel about your topic. Okay. So there is a separate section, which of course not right now, but later you can cover thematic analysis as well. So there, these kind of questions can be very, very useful to you. But anyways, I hope the type of questions is clear to everybody. Can I get quick thumbs up? If you want to ask anything, you can ask me. Else I'll wait for questions towards the end.
Ma'am,
Yes?
actually, I have submitted my question Google Forms to the students, but I haven't added the open-ended question. And I
It is
have
not
to add
necessary.
that.
No. It is not necessary to always add open-ended questions. It depends from topic to topic and how you are doing research. Okay, open-ended questions may help you to get a brief understanding of what the respondent feels. Because see, what happens is, so far, whatever questions are being asked, they are all being just tick, tick, tick. So I am not able to understand what the person feels if I don't put an open-ended question. Open-ended question is giving a free platform to the respondent. Boss, whatever you want to write about this topic, feel free to write. Something like that, you know. So that is where it is useful. Fine. Okay. Any other questions? I think all the others were just giving me thumbs up. So I think it's good to go. Yes. Fine. So let's move forward. The next part, which I have, like I said, we're going practical. So I'll be putting in some examples on related to questionnaire design and how you can go about with it, right? So a very simple question or analysis. We have digital payments as a topic, general topic. My research topic is impact of digital payments on consumer spending behavior. Very common topic. One of the students has actually got this approved just yesterday, so I was like, let me add this. Okay, the research topic relates to whether digital payments affects the spending behavior of a certain segment of customers or no, and how much. So from the topic, your next step, remember the research workflow, is to do the objective. What is the objective? Study the effect of digital payment usage on the spending habits. Correct? Okay, so you have clearly defined the objective. This statement will do two things for you. One, identify what you are studying, which is the digital payments, of course. Second, what is the outcome we are interested in? We are interested in the spending behavior. So the clarity is very important for you also and for the respondents also. Because your entire questionnaire will now revolve around this objective. And once the objective is clear, you will develop a hypothesis. So here you can see some hypothesis also written. We have null hypothesis, we have alternative hypothesis. So null hypothesis saying digital payments do not significantly affect consumer spending, and alternative hypothesis says that yes, digital spend payments actually significantly affects the customer spending. Now, why is this step important? Because hypothesis is actually giving you direction for your research. It'll tell you like what relationship you are trying to test and what kind of data do you need to collect. Okay, so this is another very important point. And from here on, I have got my variables. These are my variables. You remember IVDV we were talking about independent variable and dependent variable. Independent कौन है? Digital payment usage, right? Okay, and dependent कौन है? Consumer spending behavior, because it is dependent on digital payment usage. Okay, I'll give you another example. You got crops which come when rainfall happens. Rainfall is going to happen regardless of crops है या नहीं है. So that rainfall is independent. क्रॉप्स इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन कितना रेनफॉल हो रहा है, उसके बेस पे क्रॉप्स कितने आ पा रहे हैं फॉर अ फार्मर. दैट बिकम्स डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल. So it is dependent on the independent. It's like that. So when you design a questionnaire, you are designing questions to measure variable 1, variable 2. For variable 1 ऐसा बिल्कुल भी जरूरी नहीं है कि आपके पास सिर्फ एक क्वेश्चन होगा. One variable may have 5 to 6 questions attached to it. Perfectly fine. Okay. For example, digital payment usage. What's my question? I frequently use digital payment methods like UPI, cards, wallets, etc. On a scale of 1 to 5, how much do I agree to this? 1 being strongly agree, 2 disagree, 3 neutral, 4 agree, and 5 strongly agree. I prefer digital payments over cash. Again, Likot. I find digital payments easy to use. Can you see I have asked 3 types of questions? Preference question. Easy to use matlab I am looking at convenience. And third is frequency based question. These are all 3 different questions for the same variable, digital payment usage. And this is what I was trying to tell you. आपके questions repetitive नहीं होने चाहिए. That is when respondent will answer your question or your questionnaire. Okay, now I'll show you the second variable, spending behavior. I tend to spend more while using digital payments. One section. Second, I do not track expenses properly while paying digitally. A lot of us have this. Okay, for example, if it is something very basic, I'll tell you. If I have cash in hand, I will know exactly how much I have. But when I don't have, any such kind of cash and it's online, I probably am not tracking how much I'm spending because it's going from a bank account, not literal cash. So that factor, does that change my consumer spending habit or no? Okay. And third is, I feel less aware of money which is spent digitally. So again, awareness question, tracking, one other factor, and third is spending habit. So all these are testing your spending behavior as one single variable. So against one variable, three questions on one side, three questions on the other side. I may probably go for something like correlation or regression, right? Okay, so it's a very basic thing, and this is where beginners tend to make a mistake. They start writing questions without clearly defining the objective or without identifying the variables, because of which the questions actually tend to become unrelated to each other, and your data may become a little scattered. Analysis becomes difficult at this stage. So the correct approach is, first you define the objective, second you formulate the hypothesis based on objective, then you identify the variables which are required, and then only and only then design the questionnaire. Okay, so that's how you can do the breakup of what you need to work across. Okay, I'll give you one more example and then we'll directly jump to Google form making. The second example is influencers, that is social media influencers, topic related to that. And my research topic is role of social media influencers in shaping the purchase decisions. So the objective, very simple from the topic itself, analyze role of influencer in purchase intention, whether consumers are buying the product or no. And this is the hypothesis. From objective, frame hypothesis. So what is the hypothesis? Influencer marketing does not influence consumer buying intention. This is null. And the alternative says influencer marketing actually significantly influences the consumer buying intent. So that is the alternative hypothesis. So you observe the one significantly coming very often in all the statements of hypothesis that we are talking about. There is a significance level to show significantly and all, which again, when we move to the Monday session where hypothesis testing is happening, there Saleha ma'am will be giving more idea on what this significance level is and how to test the word significantly. But for now, just know that this word has meaning and it's not just put like that there. Uska interpretation kya hota hai, we will be learning on Monday. But for now, just know the hypothesis statement. Influencer marketing significantly influences the consumer buying intent. ठीक है. Now coming to the variables and the questionnaire items, एक मिनट पीछे जाओ. Influencers, customer buying intent. From this statement, you can find out the two terms. Those two terms will come here: purchase intent and influencers impact. Correct? Again, for this variable, I have got three statements, right? Social media influences my buying choices. Okay. Again, this will be on scale of 1 to 5. Observe, I have used agreement scale everywhere, but it is not at all necessary कि आप हमेशा agreement use करोगे. आप frequency use कर सकते हो, आप preference use कर सकते हो. You can use any scale of your choice. Okay. Your statement will rephrase based on what you are using. The idea behind using agreement scale is that it makes the perspective very vast. So you can then put multiple types of statements under agreement. Okay, but not necessary again to use only this scale. You can use multiple scales. So the social media influences your buying choices. Statement 1. Purchase intention के लिए statements है. I have purchased products after seeing them online. I've seen them and then purchased them. So another variable. Third, reviews and comments affect my purchase decision. A very interesting point. You are not buying the product because of the product. You are reading the reviews, then deciding whether you want to buy the product or no. So again, another purchase intent, right? For influencer impact, I trust recommendations given from influencers. I have brought products which are endorsed by influencers, and these influencers are helping me to discover useful products. Okay, so what am I doing? Three variables here, three variables here. Now, influencer can be of any type. इसके पहले मुझे वो क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहिए था. जो you remember types of questions I was showing you. Categorical question could be what type of influencers do you follow? Fashion influencers, food influencers, travel influencers, and unka impact. So you can now move to niche, specific type, filter on say only food influencers or say only fashion influencers and unka kya impact hota hai. So you can twist this around in multiple ways. Okay, so yeah, we are understanding these two segments. Coming to the questionnaire and how it is supposed to be made, you will be jumping to Google Forms. I've just created a very basic Google form. By the way, my Google form looks thoda different from yours because on the right hand side, I have added this add-on, which is the GPT form builder. Most of us are using AI. I'm not going to deny this also. We see it in our projects almost every day. I am not saying don't use it. I'm saying use it in a way that can actually help you. Okay, don't just copy. A lot of students, what they do, chat GPT, this is my topic, give me questionnaire items. That won't work. That won't work because chat GPT is not understanding your objective, not understanding your hypothesis, has zero idea on what variables you want to use. How will it give you correct questions? Because there is no logical flow. So you can first frame your objectives, hypothesis, variables, then you can use a GPT form builder. Okay, how do you add this add-on? Very simple. You go to this three dots here. You go to this button called Get Add-ons. Tap on this. All the add-ons that you may possibly require will show up on the screen. Right? I have actually already added, so you may just see. You can see these install buttons. Various kinds of form builders are there. See, here is one form builder. If I have a document in which my hypothesis, objectives, everything is given, I'll just install this, attach that document to this, and then it will generate questions for me. Then I will read the questions as a researcher. Probably you want to show it to your guide, please show it to your guide. Then you will go ahead and circulate your questionnaire. Okay. Another such add-on can be a pretty form designer if you want your form to look good so that people don't feel bored while filling it. You can use this. Form notifier. So if people are filling the form, you want to be notified about it. You can use these. So these are some basic, see this, AI form builder, right? There are various kinds of such AI tools which you can use. Some are built by Google also like this. You can select and you can mark on that. Okay, coming to mine, I have selected this GPT form builder. Text to form. So you will, like you normally do, put in a prompt. Again, your prompt has to have your title, objective, hypothesis, variables, then ask it to create a questionnaire from here. So you got text to form, you tap on this, you put in the description of what you want. You also mention what language you want your form in. So I'll say I want it in English for now. How many questions you want, you can give that. You can give a numbering if you want to make it a quiz. And then you click on the build form button. It will generate all the questions and give you ready form. Once the form is ready, please, 500 times telling you, review the form. Do not blindly circulate it or publish it. You will read it, you will review it, you may change things. And I am telling you, I have never used the GPT form builder and directly published it. I have always read it and always I have had reasons to change. I will make modifications and then send it forward to my guide for approval. Once they confirm it, then I can publish it and send it for my respondents. Okay. The other things which are there in the forms, usually a part of the form builder, is you have sections. So you may add the first section as demographics, the second section as your first variable name, second variable name, whatever records you want to add, then finally conclusion. Okay, coming to the types of questions also, multiple choice questions for basic questions like, wo IPL wala I had told you, ki when did you start watching the match? In the beginning, in the middle, towards the last overs, only highlights. Multiple choice. Check boxes. You would prefer to watch matches of XYZ team. I'll give you names of all the teams. You check box and select. But again, I do not recommend using this feature a lot because इसमें से you will only be able to generate bar chart or pie chart. You won't be able to do hypothesis testing much if you selected only checkbox option. So I would recommend wherever possible, stick to multiple choice, stick to linear scale, rating, multiple choice grid. These are more useful questions. File upload will not be useful to you. Short answer probably for demographics where you ask people suppose for their name, for something open ended, then you may use short answer question, but otherwise wo bhi nahi. So majorly you will revolve around 1 2 3 linear scale, multi choice grid, checkbox grid. Again, multi choice grid very very useful if you want to do relation of x on y. So something like a correlation, you will use multi choice grid. Somewhere where you want to understand people's perception towards a certain x factor, you will use linear scale. Okay, somewhere where a person has to select from certain options, like for example state, city, I will use drop down. Select your division, very simple, I'll use drop down. So, depending upon what you are up to, then there is checkboxes and multi-choice. Once you've prepared your questions, ideal length of your questions for a research project should be up to 10 to 12 questions. Not more than that. Don't fill your questionnaire with 35, 40 questions. You are not doing a full-fledged thesis at this point. So you can limit your questions specifically to the variables that you want to cover in your study. So you will put those questions in specific which are useful, which you feel इसमें से मुझे interpretation आएगा based on what your objective is. If your objective is X, don't put questions related to Y. I'm giving you something very simple. Once your questions are in place, you will go ahead and you will publish the form like so. Respondents can be anybody with the link. You will tap on the button publish. Once you do this, you will get a link. Always shorten this link, copy it, frame a proper message that X person related to this topic conducting research. Here is the form, please fill it. Okay, so these are basic things that you may need to know when you are working on Google Forms. Again, I'll tell you, this is not just about it. There are a lot of features, add-ins, as I said, you should always add. Change your themes, change your style. If you wish to, here are font options, header options, color options. Explore. Don't just create a very basic form without any head or tail. It becomes difficult for viewers to fill. So look at it like ये link तुम्हारे पास आती, would you fill it? Okay, it should be like that. Okay, questions should be simple and very easy to understand. All the questions I've given you today in today's examples were very simple one-liners. I have not put a full-fledged paragraph and told them कि भाई you answer. They will never answer those kind of questions. So objective के हिसाब से whatever you want to study, whatever you want to test, hypothesis के हिसाब से, together with both of that, you will decide what to ask. So that, and this is just a tool for asking. Not necessarily you will use Google Form only. You may go for Survey Monkey. You may go for any other tool. You may go for interviews, personal, one-to-one. But asking the correct question is very important. So make sure that your hypothesis is research driven or your study is research driven and oriented to your hypothesis. Try to build logic from your topic. Okay, and then from there, topic to hypothesis, sorry, topic to objective, objective to hypothesis, hypothesis to variables, then questionnaire. Okay, so the structured thinking will help you go to the correct place. Now, just towards the closing, common mistakes that students tend to make is you write your hypothesis without understanding what your variables are, what your operational definitions are. So people don't fix those things first. You fix your topic, then write. Second, people mix categorical and scale data incorrectly, which means you tend to treat nominal as numeric. Now, what do I mean when I say this? Very simple things, that you may miss on. Age factor. ठीक है, मैंने range बताया था. People give a scale box and they say write your age. Now, what happens is sometimes people are not comfortable giving their exact age. Second, in that age variable, people write ABC and leave it. इससे क्या हो गया, आपका डेटा क्लीन नहीं आया. So that is one common mistake that somebody may end up doing. right? Unclear or poorly defined variables. Try to understand what your variables are and then define them. Third, using the wrong statistical test. To this, I have something that can help you. How to select the right test? Again, a question that student comes to me very often to ask कि मैम कौन सा टेस्ट कब यूज करना है कैसे पता चलेगा. So this is the intent behind it. Your research question or your objective, if it starts with asking if there is a relationship between X and Y, like I said, relationship between rainfall and crops, I will check with correlation. If your question is asking, does X affect Y, I will go for regression. If your hypothesis is there is a significant difference between people of various age groups watching IPL, again, difference between the groups, difference identify करने के लिए always go for t-test or ANOVA. And if your question has there is a significant association between certain categories, you opt for chi-square. Association, always chi-square. Difference, t-test, ANOVA. Look at the color coding. I'm doing it for a reason. Affect, if X variable affects Y, you say impact of something on something. So how much does this factor affect something else? That is regression. Okay. And is there a relationship? There is correlation. Now, it could be possible that 2-3 factors affect something. Say, for example, weight loss. Diet affects weight loss. Exercise also affects weight loss. Right? Your movement affects weight loss. So, अभी 2-3 चीजों का impact on one variable weight loss. Multiple regression कर रहे हो. So, आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आप कौन से वेरिएबल से क्या टेस्ट अप्लाई कर रहे हो. And if you don't understand it, always remember as students, you have your guides with you. You can ask them meaningful questions like this. Ki ma'am, I feel this is my statement. I think this is the hypothesis I should go for. Or this is the test I should go for. Can you give me a heads up? Right? So that is again an example of applying the right statistical test. Another thing, I've given you a match guide on the right hand side. Nominal versus nominal, you go for chi-square. So depending upon what your variable style is, you will select, the type of test also. Okay. Like for example, how do I make it simpler for you? Questions related to a nominal scale. A nominal scale can be something like something that can label your data into categories. Can be called as nominal scale. Male, female, other, nominal scale. Okay, a type of bank, public bank, private bank, cooperative bank, again nominal scale, right? Nominal type. Scale is usually a number. When you allocate a number, जिसके ऊपर regression, correlation हो सकता है. Okay, so this is how you can match the variables. If there is a two-group mean comparison, you may do pre and post. Example, I want to do impact of AI training on student performance. So before AI, what was the score? After AI, what is the score? I want to compare pre and post. Before joining gym, what was the impact on weight loss? After joining gym, what is the impact on weight loss? Compare between the two. I use t-test because there are two groups, pre and post. That is paired t-test. Okay. The other one can be an ANOVA. जब 2-3 factors होते हैं एक साथ आपको compare करना है, you may go for an ANOVA. So again, at this level, not necessary you will use all these tests. This is just for you to understand that in research, after collecting your data, you may use one of these. You may not use. You may just go for percentage method. That is very basic. But if you are actually doing so much effort, making the variables, doing the questionnaire, you should also apply the right tests and then complete it, right? So analysis karte hue, these may be useful for you. And I've given very basic ones. There are a lot of tests out there in the market, but I'm giving you the ones which I feel at master's level you could possibly apply. Okay, or at your TY level. So these are some samples for that. And that is what my mistake here is, using the wrong statistical test. So someone is using correlation instead of doing t-test. That can be a common error. And then not matching your questionnaire item directly to the research objective or hypothesis. आपका objective कुछ बोल रहा है, questionnaire कुछ और पूछ रहा है. Then nothing can help you. Right? Also avoid double barrel questions, means trying to ask two things in the same question. और biased framing, जिसका जो मतलब leading questions होते हैं ना, okay, Do you not like IPL? This is a biased frame question. You have to ask the question in a way that you get unbiased opinion. आप जो भी सोच रहे हो as a researcher, आपका respondent भी वही सोचेगा, ये सोच के questionnaire मत बनाओ. That is what biased framing means. ठीक है? Then comes poor response option. So, missing the other. A lot of times we do this. Other means I have some question in which I have given 3 options. But let's say somebody is using something else only. So that other option needs to be mentioned. And skipping validation. So these are some common mistakes that one may make, and these are last, you can say, summary or key takeaways that I would want before I go for Q&A. Last takeaways of if there is something you should take back from today's class, these are a few things. One, please clearly define your objective, hypothesis, then identify variables, make them into measurable items, then ask the right questions. Okay, right questions in the right type. Don't go for a checkbox जहां पे scale question होना चाहिए था. Don't go for a scale जहां पे open-ended question होना चाहिए था. So think and then frame your questionnaire. Write clear, neutral, single focus items and try to create sections. Like I said, create logical sections. Demographic एक section है. First variable can be your next section. Create sections, create branching so that your alignment is logical. Okay, first you pilot test the survey, then based on that feedback do reliability check, do validity check. Right now I think you understand those terms also because I covered those earlier if you were listening to me. Plan your coding and analysis, so you pre-select what kind of tests do you wish to possibly apply, and then you ensure ethics, ensure that there is informed consent. Tell people that you're doing this research and you want to collect the data, take their permission and then take the data. Data privacy should be there throughout the study. So these are some takeaways from my side for making a good questionnaire. Now, of course, in 1 hour time, this is the best that I could possibly cover. Feel free to ask questions and we'll take it forward from there. Yeah. Raise your hand if you want to ask questions. Okay, I'm just checking on the chat if there's anything. I think Vritti has a question. Ma'am, will you be sharing this PDF after the call? If you want me to, I can. I have no problem. I have created it. I don't mind sharing it. Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay. Okay, Lindsay is also saying share the PDF. I have no problem sharing the PDF. Like I said, I shall share it. Don't worry. Tanveer has no questions. Okay. I well understood what we are saying. Okay. Dhruv has a question. Ma'am, how much questions are needed except demographics? What is your title? Like, what are you studying on? Variables के ऊपर depend करता है. If you've got multiple variables, then your questionnaire का questions will be more. But if you are asking me purely on the angle of your current black book, how many questions are needed? Like I said, up to 12 questions should be there because without that, you will not be able to conduct or justify your research, according to me. So, 12 questions, I think, minimum, since you're asking me the minimum. Again, don't put only a number to it, depends upon the variables that you're using in your study.
Ma'am, if anyone have added 20, 25 questions, that will be fine.
Garima, what's your question? Can you repeat?
Ma'am, actually, I have added, I have actually added a question to 25. Because my
Okay,
topic was for the e-commerce related to the Amazon and Flipkart.
right. You can add. There is no problem. He asked me what is the minimum number of questions. So I gave him an idea based on that. But again, as I said, it's not a threshold. What your objective is, based on that, you will frame your questionnaires. So what I suggest now, Garima, since you've already made a questionnaire, Can you go back to it, read your objective and hypothesis again, and then read the questions? And then think, is this linking? Is this going in a flow? Are the variables correctly selected? हर वेरिएबल को जस्टिफाई करने के लिए क्या मेरे पास सिग्निफिकेंट नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस है? Will I be able to, and now you can possibly even think ki, will I be able to apply the correct tests? Are you understanding? So once you go there, now you probably may have a different take on it. ठीक है?
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
fine. How many of us have done making the questionnaire from the dissertation? I'm hoping not many people have.
Ma'am, actually, even I had a doubt. So I basically joined late,
Hmm.
and I actually wanted to know. So you were saying something about framing the questions, and there is this thing like basically we're all using ChatGPT, but then you said that how do we enhance it and actually make it more valid based on our project? So could you explain that again?
Okay, so what I said is that don't directly use GPT, give it the topic, and be like, make the questionnaires for this. It will not help you. Matlab, it will not give you the correct output. What you should always do is you should give, or you should understand first what your hypothesis, objective, topic is. Based on that, what your variables are. So, what is the dependent, independent variables? And against that variable, get to frame certain statements. Once you do that, it becomes different. What I mentioned in the session was that there is a GPT form builder inbuilt in Google Forms, which can help you to create the right statements for your analysis, which you will find in the add-ons button, which is in the three dots on the corner. You tap on it, go to add-ons, write form builder, and install it. Okay?
Okay, ma'am, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
And ma'am, for our final dissertation, the questions will be same only, na?
Yes,
For the
yes.
questionnaire.
Questions. So I'll tell you what, for at least the HR students who are doing dissertation, you have first pilot study. When you're making your pilot study, please show it to your guide that these are the questions I have used. This is my pilot study. अगर कुछ changes होंगे वो level पे, your guide will tell you. Then you can make your final hypothesis if there are modifications. Mostly, there may not be. If really it is not help, means it's not linking, your variables are not linking your hypothesis statements, and you have randomly put questions, then there may be modifications which your guides will tell you. So research is a you can say activity that you should usually do under the guidance of the faculties who are assigned to you. Ask them questions wherever you are stuck, whether it comes to topics, whether it comes to framing the right segment of hypothesis and objectives, whether it comes to questionnaire design. When you ask the right questions, whether it comes to testing also, कि मैम ये टेस्ट लगाऊं या नहीं लगाऊं. When you ask them those kind of questions, that is when you are making your research meaningful. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I have a question.
Hmm.
If we'll make the questionnaire,
Hmm.
we have to put all the questions in pilot study. We have to analyze all the questions, or half questions we have to do and half in dissertation.
नहीं ऐसे नहीं होता है. You always put all your questions in pilot study. Because when you're putting your questions in pilot study, you will come to know, okay, how many questions are correctly framed. No, some questions may need changes. So the idea behind a pilot study is you test it first at a smaller sample. You understand how your respondents are understanding, not understanding the questions, if the wordings need to be changed somewhere. So you will put all your questions. Then later, once you sit back with the reports and the analysis of that, you may possibly then change or modify few questions from there. Ideally, pilot study में सारे questions होने चाहिए. Ruzeka has also asked a question. Ma'am, in the pilot study also we have to do like analysis, charts, graphs so that we have proper testing, or can we do percentage method for pilot study? Ideally, you should do the proper testing on the smaller set also. So that you will come to know, okay, this test works, this test doesn't work, or this is not properly done. Pilot study is a mini version of what you are doing in your main dissertation. If it works with 50 responses, it will work with 500 responses. The tests, I'm saying the names of the tests. But if you are just doing percentage method, suppose in the initial 30-40 responses or 50 responses, whatever you're collecting in your pilot study, then later, you are trying to actually apply tests and you will say, oh ma'am, this तो doesn't fit. So वो आपको पहले पता करना था in pilot study. That is the purpose of a pilot study. Are you understanding? क्यों जरूरी है? Yes, am I clear?
Ma'am, as you said that we 12 to 15 questions we have to make. So in pilot study, we will analyze and interpret all those questions, and for
Yes.
dissertation, we have to
Hmm.
again modify it if it is needed.
Correct. But number of responses भी ज्यादा होंगे ना?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So
For
then we will be
dissertation,
doing that.
100 responses, and this for pilot, 30 to 50 responses, as you said.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think Ruzeka, your question is, will there be a session on hypothesis testing? Yes. On Monday, Saleha ma'am is taking a session specifically for hypothesis testing. So her session is on Monday in the morning. We will be sending the flyer and other details as well for that session as well. So we have right now, I was just showing you how to build a correct questionnaire, how to ask the right questions. But she will be doing how to test those questions with hypothesis. Yeah, so that will happen separately. That's it. Are there any further questions or are we good to go? Fine.
Do we also
Yeah.
share a form right now? That's all right.
Yeah, just a second. Rahul sir, are we good to go?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope I was able to add to a little knowledge to what you already knew.
Definitely, definitely. 100%. In fact, it was more lucid.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We have sent in a feedback form. We request everybody to please fill it up. And can we please have students switch on your cameras for a quick picture? Please switch on all your cameras. Good to see you, Rahul sir. Sir, you're on mute.
At the university today. So
Oh,
that is
okay.
also on.
Acha, okay, fine, no problem. Dhanashri, you're clicking the picture?
Yes, ma'am. I've clicked the pictures, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank
much,
you so much.
everyone. Yeah.
Thank you for joining, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.